talk about this guy. I don't know if y'all know, but this guy named David, he was a streamer first, and then he went to being a singer. All while dating an underage female, 12 years old. Like, bruh. What the wrong thing. I meant to put it. Shit is crazy, man.
Folks, I've got another update for you guys in the David case. There's been a new interview and some new information coming out, and now Redditors think they might have solved when the murder actually took place. So first off, I want to just react to a bunch of clips from this new interview, okay? Or, it's basically, this interview has just dropped. It's Ashley Banfield interviewing the private investigator Steve Fisher, who's obviously been employed by the owner of the property where David was living when the body of 14-year-old Celeste was found in his Tesla nearby. Rest in peace to her. And this will be a really interesting deep dive, okay? So they would basically get deep into the latest updates of the case. They would be looking at a new timeline of when Celeste was last seen and the allegations that there was actually another underage victim that David was messing with. Allegedly, they actually went to the police. And, there's been a lot to be discussed. So the first thing that would come up would be David's friend, some believe boyfriend, Neo, who had previously appeared in front of the grand jury for only 40 minutes. Basically, Steve Fisher is convinced that Neo has actually negotiated a deal.
What up, guys? Max Blessali here. I'm here at Box.
I think it means that he probably pled the fifth, and that he was there with counsel, and his counsel affirmed that he was representing him, and I think that they use that as leverage to say, listen, we're playing fifth, but you want to work a deal, offer us immunity of some sort, whatever deal they're looking for. I have a feeling what happened was they used that to let them know that was their intention, and they probably met a day or two later with whoever they needed to meet with on the DA side and worked out some sort of agreement, and probably then ended up giving the testimony that he had. Because Neo, and listen, I wish he would talk more often, but he hasn't talked, but he did come out last week, 2 weeks ago, and made a kind of a wild statement saying that he was now legally fine. He was legally fine, and that he had all kinds of information and had all the receipts. And he basically said, I've got everything they need. And, so I can't imagine the DA would be super happy about him making that if they has a deal. But he came out with a really arrogant, statement, which great. Where was this 6 months ago? Why did it take having to extradite you here? He's not some hero to me if he's been holding on to this information, and because he got a deal, he might have rolled on his friend. This is a 14-year-old girl that was chopped up and left in a Tesla, and I think I think certain people knew.
This motherfucker. Wait. This nigga chopped the 14-year-old girl and the Tesla. What the fuck is he doing? Man.
Even if they weren't directly involved, knew that she was in there, and to go around parading the fact that you've got all this information and you're legally fine, and ended it with a ha ha ha, it's tone deaf.
So yeah, he thinks Neo has worked out a deal, even though that he is making tone deaf posts on social media. But he would basically go on to examine LAPD's decision to seal the medical report, and he would basically say what a lot of people have been thinking is that the LAPD's behavior afterwards have been very, very suspicious.
In an effort to undermine transparency. Well, then why is it still sealed? Why is it still, Is it because there's going to be public outrage when they find out what really happened to Celeste, and wanting to know why there's not any movement, any answers yet? And you don't want that heat.
And 5 months is a long time. 5 months is a long time for, saying that your detectives need to have access, to the information first. But didn't they also say something like, at that time, and I may have this sort of foggy, but didn't they also say something about, we don't even think that necessarily a crime has been committed here other than concealment of a body? What?
Well, so that was the other press. That was the first press release. And so the two they come out with were outright, I'm just going to say, they're outright lies, because the first press release, this is before there was talk about possible dismemberment, and then nobody had ever said that. And then they came out with a press release saying, there might not be any crime in this case beyond criminal culpability for concealment of a body, which is a misdemeanor. And so that made you go, bruh.
He murdered her. What the fuck? Like, man.
So, okay, well, she can't be dismembered then. It's got to be like an overdose and somebody made a bad decision and they're like, what do we do? And then we find out she was dismembered, and because of a sloppy filing that they did that wasn't sealed. And
let me get to that in a second. Continue your thought. I'm going to get to why you found out that she was dismembered.
They knew, detectives knew she'd been dismembered. There's no way that it was concealment of a body. That would have been mutilation of a corpse, and that's felony at very minimum. So that was a lie. And then the only other press release we get out of them is a lie too, and they say this is not being done to undermine transparency. And 5 months later, we still don't have that unsealed. So those are not genuine, and they're not. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's. I mean, it's a 14-year-old, and I just feel like they're playing hide the ball to an extent. I understand there's some things that can't come out, but.
So he feels like that the cops aren't really doing right by.
They're not doing shit. What the fuck is what is going on, man? I feel like the cops deal with this shit too. Like, this shit is crazy.
Celeste in basically not releasing the info, sealing the medical examiner's report, all of that stuff. So the interview would also touch on some of the more kind of sadistic things that were found in David's home, particularly the alleged burn cage that was found, as well as the chainsaw that was found in his home. And again, Steve Fisher points out a very interesting point, that the police didn't even collect these objects.
Yeah. Well, I covered your. You've done some really good work in finding stuff in this case, and I covered. I think it was the.
Come on, man. Y'all ain't finding shit. No, y'all found this shit, but y'all ain't collecting this shit. That's what it is.
Day that you were able to gain entry legally to the house that David was living in when Celeste disappeared, and her body found in the car around the block. And you discovered a burn cage, a box with a burn cage in it, but it was unused, right? And some other artifacts that just seemed like, how are those things not seized when the police raided that house and took whatever evidence they needed?
Yeah. I mean, the burn.
Man, my thing is, let it have been, you know what I'm saying, motherfuckers like us or some shit in the trenches or whatever. With, you know what I'm saying, shit like this going on. Motherfuckers been swooped up. Locked up. I'm trying to tell you, motherfuckers getting away with murder. Murder, man.
Burn cage. There was a chainsaw, which is not needed at that house. The house came with gardeners and all that. Things that, especially even by themselves, is suspicious enough. But together, you go, knowing that there's a deceased girl that's been sitting in that Tesla, is like. We really wonder what the plans were. Was it to essentially incinerate her, and get rid of her ashes? And then I was like, I just couldn't believe that David or any of those people have it in them to pull her apart, to just rip her apart. And then, because I didn't know at that time until this finally came out, and it just broke my heart when I found out she'd really been dismembered. I mean, 14 years old, and they spent time hacking her apart. And
well, we don't know who did.
What's that?
At this point, we don't know who
did it, but I don't think
know.
the person did it. And
so yeah, it is really sad, man. And it just drives home the point that,
No arrest getting made. No arrest.
that the dismemberment angle just shows how messed up this was. This wasn't no accident. This was something that somebody intentionally did. So the next thing that would be brought up was basically just Steve Fisher making the point that it seems like the detectives actually did fail to gather several vital pieces of evidence and information early on. Steve apparently found an SD card that, had pictures of Celeste on it that the feds and the cops didn't take. So he is pretty pissed. He's pretty tired of the cops not really doing the utmost to get justice in this case. And I think a lot of us kind of feeling his pain on that one.
Up at the home across the street to say, do you have any video?
yeah, so I actually was given video of the detectives arriving at that house. It's a large estate, and it's not the people's primary estate, and they weren't there at the time. They have estate managers, and so when the detectives buzzed the gate, they said, we're investigating a homicide, and we want to know if your surveillance camera's here, if you can, check them. And they said, well, we're talking to you from the other house right now. But we're happy to have our IT guy look through and whatnot. And they gave dates that they wanted and stuff. And I'm sorry, they didn't give dates at that time, but there was like one round of I think text messages went back and forth, and the people said, you know, they had a scheduled upgrade on like September 25th to upgrade their entire system, and the Texans never came back, and there was 4 terabyte drive from one camera that faces like the front door of the house that, you know, David was renting.
Low-key, this case pissing me off though. I ain't gonna even lie. Like, cops ain't doing shit at all. We spending they taking our tax money for what? They doing nothing. Nothing at all, bro. Bruh.
And that got taken out during the upgrade, and it's a specialized security system that's kind of used for like corporate manufacturing environments where it's like trade secret stuff. So the drives are made that if you take them out of the security system, you can never view it again. And that's so if like a spy from another company was coming in and steal the hard drive, they can never view the footage. You can only
have to upload it before you remove it.
So if you're going to ever take the drive out of the console, you have to upload it. Well, they didn't do that, and they didn't have any reason to do that. But all that footage is gone, and that's.
I mean, well, here, let's be really clear about this. The police show up at their door at the gate. They're not there. The police say, we want your video. They say, sure thing, we want to help. And the police never come back. So they inform the police, we've got a scheduled upgrade coming, just so you know.
Yep.
And the police didn't do anything about it. Like, this is a huge failing that the police didn't show back up to get what I would argue is like one of the most
What the police said. Hey, 12, where you at?
critical pieces of evidence. A camera pointing right at David's house where you might see Celeste going in and never coming back out.
Yes. And
So the police literally gave a heads up and let them delete all the footage. I spoke about this in the Jeffrey Epstein story, but who the fuck is inventing these surveillance footage systems where it deletes all the footage when you take it out? Yeah, he's talking about, it's for espionage in case a spy from another country. This is a domestic fucking surveillance camera. It's ridiculous. Oh, yeah, same with Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, if you take the tape out, it deletes itself. Why? This is nonsense. And I honestly don't actually believe it. I think it's bollocks. I think it's bullshit. I think that they've just allowed them to delete the footage. I think it's absolute nonsense in the Epstein case, and it's nonsense in this case. You really mean to tell me these things are just designed? It's a surveillance camera designed to capture evidence, and it's designed to delete itself. What an absolute joke. They think we're idiots, okay? Now, they would also discuss how David's car was released from police custody after only being held for 2 days. Barely any evidence could have been picked up.
Not in evidence? It's not being held? It's not in a police impound lot?
No, they kept it for 2 days. And they turned it back to the impound yard. And then what happened was it was never picked up. So it went up. I've been watching it online the whole time. It went up for auction. It was listed for public auction. At 10 o'clock the night before it was being auctioned, and all of a sudden came off the auction roster because I was going to inspect it. And I called the place, and they said somebody showed up with a cashier's check and with power of attorney paperwork. And then I looked in D4vd, I have D4vd access, and somebody transferred it into their name from David's. And I was like, oh, that's some shady going on here. And I happened to be in a part of town the other day, and I drove by, and I'm like, that's the Tesla with and it still had the Texas plate and everything. So it's at a body shop.
So wait, so the day before auction, somebody shows up with a cashier's check.
Yeah, and power of attorney.
And power of attorney, and they purchased from the impound lot the Tesla.
Yep.
You don't know who it is. There's no record of that.
I know who it is. I just can't say because of D4vd access. But it's not a name that I knew before. But I know who it is now. Yeah. And
then how do you trace it to where it is now?
I just ran across it. I was on another case, and I was driving down the road, and it was literally parked on the side of the road in front of a body shop. It has all these like stickers on the back of wings.
It's easy to find. Yes.
And then at the time, now I've driven by it a few times now, checked it out, but it has the text plates off now. But it has it's the car. They've washed it since, but they haven't done anything.
One thing I gotta say though, the justice system failed the shit out of that little girl. For real. The justice system failed the shit out of her. Like, no arrest being made. This man goes to other schools. You know what I'm saying? Perform, do whatever he want to do. You know? This man killed a minor. For Christ's sakes, like, bruh. Her body was dismantled in a Tesla car that he owned. And he ain't getting arrested. Man, this shit crazy. Like, and then, but it's crazy because it's like Lil Durk. We got, you know what I'm saying, all these people and shit. You know what I'm saying, getting caught for shit. but he get caught with a body, not only a body, a dismantled body. Like you on some, you know what I'm saying, creepy shit. Shit is crazy.
And
So, yeah, he's saying that the car is still out there. He accidentally ran across the car. I would have bought that car in an auction, to be completely honest with you. I would have actually done that. But I didn't get the chance. But anyway, he would also reveal that he apparently has evidence of David messing with other minors, and he says that one of them has already spoken to the police. And I've got some more info on Reddit about that one for you guys in a sec.
I don't know. It's still
So this was 54. It was here.
because you know what? Start with the sex crimes if you have to. There are them. I announced like 2 weeks ago. I have 2 other minors that have come to me. One of them has given me tons of photo evidence. Her and him together. She's minor. There's no doubt.
Wait, which her? Celeste or this other minor who's talking to you?
Another minor. But at the same time, on the day that Celeste ran away, on that last time on February 15th, he has. She's at one spot, and this other minor that he's involved with is 2 blocks away at a different place, and he's going back and forth. And I've got pictures of it.
Meaning that she was? Are you saying that she was Celeste and this other minor?
Well, I'm saying, Celeste.
People, sorry, we'll be a little bit more clear there. I'm not clear.
Sure.
On that particular day, what happened?
I've had 2 minors separately come to me. One of them has tons of photo evidence, including from February 14th, on Valentine's Day, and them together. I mean, romantically together. And she's under
the minor and David.
Yes, minor and David together in the rental house that my client owns. So, and there's no disputing it. It's not like you only see part of them. They're together, taking pictures into a mirror, and so they're together. And so, I encourage her to go.
Celeste is not in those pictures.
Celeste's not in those pictures, and Celeste, and then this girl doesn't know Celeste, and I mean she knows who she is now, but she didn't know her. And I encouraged her to go to law enforcement. She was scared to death. She's like, I don't know. If they could be, but she went and she's told them and she showed them pictures and they're not prosecuting a sex crime. So it seems to be like it's murder or nothing. And at some point we got to protect these underage girls.
So this young minor, did she say that she'd had sexual relations with David and she's underage?
Well, absolutely.
And she told the police that and they're not interested?
And yes, and she told the police that. I'm just saying there's been no movement on it at all, and they haven't followed up.
They haven't followed up with her?
Well, besides saying, yeah, you send us your pictures and stuff like that, there hasn't been like extensive sit-down interview with her. I'll put it that way. She's willing to. She finally got the courage up to be like, okay, I'll do what I need to do, and it doesn't seem to be a priority, or even doesn't even seem to,
Welcome to the
Steve.
So this is insane, right? So he is literally alleging that David had 2 minors in different properties on Valentine's Day 2024. And this has been going around on Reddit. It's been going viral too. They're saying one of the minors gave SF photographic evidence of being with David the same Valentine's Day as Celeste in 202024. David literally...
That's fucking proof. Look at this shit. They sending evidence and they ain't doing shit about it, man. Come on, man.
Actually hopped from 804 to Vieiro in one night. He was wilding out. People saying I wouldn't be surprised he was cheating as often as he fixated on others doing so and reposted several videos about it. It's usually the ones who constantly accuse others of doing so that are cheating themselves. And they're saying, in my mind, Celeste found out that he was R-wording other young girls while she was alone in the other house, got pissed, and told David and friends that she was going to the police and the media to blow his shit up right before his big album release and tour, and he couldn't have that. People are saying exactly what I think. She had already got wind of it because there was a girl that said something on the Discord server. Maybe someone told her in the end. I think she was tired of his BS and no doubt abuse. We see that in the last picture of her that SF found. She didn't look happy. She realized he never loved her but just groomed her. We've seen Celeste when she was angry. Look at that video, how she took off at people next door playing that prank. She would have no doubt stood up to him and no doubt that was the end of her life. I also feel she wanted to go home but it seemed he stopped or did not allow her. He no doubt kept her.
Damn, Chad, what y'all think? Y'all think she should have stood up? Because she probably wouldn't have lost her life. Bruh. I'm just saying. Shit, she wouldn't have stood up. She would have shut the fuck up and all that.
Hostage there. People saying that would also make sense to the clip on stream where she references R-wording children and he said to delete everything. So yeah, I'm not going to read all that. But yeah, it says these people around him knew the other minor hanging out at the main house. Good effing lord. People are sick of it. said the minor was frightened of coming forward and bravely she did so, only for the LAPD to not respond. Second child messing with by David allegedly comes out. The LAPD hope that they get the FBI involved. The camera footage never collected. What is going on with the cops there? Then Steve parks right across the street and there's David's Tesla. LAPD kept it for only 2 days. Shake my head. I'm beginning to smell corruption. And we know who the PDS father worked for. We know he has Harvey and Laney on the team trying to confuse folks. The person walked into the impound, paid almost $20,000 for a crime scene and just sold it to a random Tesla repair lot. Is the LAPD sleeping because it's not a good look for them? If you are or know someone being groomed or being victimized on the internet, here's the FBI's information. It says, I wonder if she's still a minor and if she was a runaway as well. If she was a minor then, shouldn't her parents be the ones liaising with SF? It says she was with David and not her parents. Her parents maybe gave her company or encouraged her to step forward. But it is crazy. They're saying, so David was being a hoe and cheating on Celeste at the same time.
What the hell is these parents at? These parents ain't nowhere to be found, man. Like, what I tell you, these parents ain't shit these days.
This is crazy. Cheating on Celeste with other kids. Sick guy. What the hell are the police doing? Why are there no murder charges? It's actually crazy. I feel like the idea of him running back and forth like he has two families is so insane. I wouldn't doubt it for a second that David would do it. Why would the police ignore the leads? Did he mention if he went with them to help the police? Otherwise, LAPD is really cementing their reputation. Outrageous. He should be charged for S crimes along with arrest. I just don't understand. They're saying, poor Steve, he looks like the things he's seen are stressing him out. These types of crimes are horrific and affect more than just the people immediately involved. Shake my damn head. It is really, really sad. So he would also massively update the timeline regarding when Celeste was last seen. So this is this part. Listen to this.
NBC Los Angeles has a report. They say that law enforcement sources have told them that they believe Celeste was killed in the spring of 2025 and that there may be more than one person involved. Do you know anything about that?
Not directly from law enforcement, but I will say, the last picture that we have of Celeste live is January 2nd, 2025. And we felt that something may have happened from there to spring, and also coupled with the fact of the neighbor having this really bad odor in their yard where they had buried it, where the Tesla parked right next to them. They had buried a dog there, and they thought it was the dog, but it was kind of a wide.
Wait, stay there for a second. This is the neighbor directly across the street with the cameras that are pointing right, and the police didn't show
The neighbors got cameras.
What the fuck? Up to get those cameras in that video, and they had buried the dog in their backyard and thought the smell was so terrible that they hadn't buried the dog deep enough.
That's right.
And when the Tesla left, suddenly the odor went away and they realized it wasn't the dog.
That's
Same
right.
neighbors.
That's right. And they said when we got to a certain temperature, warm enough, that the smell would overwhelm the backyard. And so we're not, January, and it seemed like then they leased a new, David's manager leased a new Tesla in February 2nd, I believe. So we were thinking about there, but I will say that I have talked to somebody that knows Celeste's family and has some information that they believe around April 20th may have been a target date. So I'm not disputing that reporting. I just don't know. But I will say, I think that there's certain people that believe around that April 15th, April 20th is the date. It can be anywhere from January to, as far as I know, January to end of April.
But they have their ideas based on witnesses, last reportings of anybody who knew her, that kind of thing. And then this car that smelled and the report from the neighbor.
I was
what the fuck?
You see this shit?
pretty sure we're talking January, February, but I do have a lot of faith in this witness, and
the police ain't doing nothing about it though.
People directly tied to her they're talking to that she was seen April 20th, and after that went completely dark. So I could see April 20th. I just don't know the exact date, but I think that could be April 20th. End of April could be in play, but it's just hard to say without the details.
Stop wasting money on ChatGPT, Midjourney, or Ideogram for print on demand. Here's what actually...
So a lot of people on Reddit have latched onto this theory that the murder actually might have happened in April. So this has been going around. It says April is the key month. Let's recap everything we recently discovered about April. Handbag was found on TikTok by Celeste on April the 20th. On April 26th or 27th, David is crying in the middle of his concert. And according to SF, April is the last time Celeste was seen by anyone. So they're saying Celeste must have therefore been killed between April 20th and April 26th. People saying April 20 is also early spring. This was on April the 24th.
That's when she probably fucked around and, stood up for herself, and he like, I can't do it. Bruh. I need to kill her. Bruh. Soon as she stood up for herself.
when he showed the bloody shirts on the tarpaulin. He said, now the sky is falling down, and I need someone now. I missed you somehow, never meant to let you down. Twisted. It says, yeah, that sounds about right to me. It happened sometime around Coachella last year, and that would be around here. Now, look, we're all hoping for an arrest in this case. Who knows? Maybe April 20th they'll do an arrest. Maybe they'll do an arrest on the day of the murder, and they'll catch him out that way. Okay, that could be it. Brings me back to this. This is apparent phone calls that he had. One of them was from future wifey, and that was on April the 17th. People are saying it's not Celeste. People are saying that there are other two minors. It could be the other one, but we don't know. It says, I honestly believe this is being drug out because there's a lot of money at stake. Think about it. If they can prove knowledge of any of his managers or entourage, I think legally it would open up his label to massive suits. It says, glad we're gathering all this evidence. Too bad the LA prosecutors are too focused on playing the role of social justice warrior and the next Malcolm X. They won't arrest or charge David because it goes against their racial agenda. That's a long shot, to be honest with you.
I can't wait for anybody else shit, but I can't wait for his arrest. I can't wait till he goes to jail. For real, chat. This nigga, like, he dealing with underage women, like little girls. I don't like that shit, bro. This nigga need to get buried 12 feet under, not 6 feet, 12 feet. Bruh. Like, real talk, man.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. But, yeah. So the last thing that I want to show you in this interview that I think is interesting is this next part where basically SF would share his perspective on why Celeste's parents might not be speaking out publicly, and that is a very, very sort of suspicious thing. People are like, well, why aren't her parents speaking out? Everyone's usually marching for justice for their kids that got killed. But in this case, it's not happening, and everyone wonders why.
Well, it leads me to my last question.
That's the thing. Why? How parents ain't doing nothing? Like, I ain't seen her parents yet. I don't even know how her parents look. They don't care. Bro. Huh?
Because I know your time is precious, but where are Celeste's parents in all this? Early on, we thought maybe they're undocumented and that's why they're not being vocal, and they've they just, were so underground. But they have a daughter who was mutilated, and there's no justice here.
For Christ's sakes. Like, nobody, I know y'all had to do some shit and all, like, her body dismantled and shit. Bro, you want to get to the bottom of this shit, bro. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. What the fuck?
And there's a rich boyfriend in whose Tesla she was found. What is their story, and where are they, and why are they not hammering down the doors of the LAPD?
So first I'll say I've never spoken to them. I have made an attempt, gently made an attempt.
Bro, that nigga wouldn't even be going to school, bro. I'd be hunting that man. Bro, hell no. I'm not to fuck his ass. Bro. Man, that shit dead.
But they haven't spoken to me. Nobody in the family. However, I know a lot of things, and with proof, not just speculation, but with proof. And I think that hesitation comes from Celeste was not a missing person. They knew where Celeste was. Celeste was showing up occasionally at family events. We got photo documents.
Right. So why the fuck the parents ain't pressing his ass? What the fuck, bro?
Of that, she showed up at a graduation for her cousin Esmeralda. She showed up. She's in that video where she's fighting with the people in the apartment complex next door.
Wasn't that her own birthday?
Yeah, that's when she's missing. It's supposedly a missing person.
And it's her birthday. She's in her own parents' backyard, arguing with the neighbors, right?
Well, she shows up at a birthday type event too. That's the third one. So there's all these things. And listen, I know that some of her siblings had joined them on, fun events. Let's say, going places, and so they knew what was going on. So I think that maybe they're thinking, they don't want to get in trouble for that, which I get. Listen, I don't think prosecutors are looking to prosecute that, right? But even if they were, I think the right thing to do would be to come out and say, maybe we messed up, maybe we didn't, but we really need justice for Celeste because she ended up chopped up in a Tesla, and but that's not happening, and it's really heartbreaking. And the only other thing I can think of is, because I kind of saw it happen to me, is if somebody's being heavy-handed, ultimately the reason I was served given that piece of paper is because they didn't want me talking to the press anymore. They flat out told me, stop talking. But, you don't need to investigate the case. We don't need people knowing what evidence may have been overlooked or not. And I think maybe Celeste family's being told don't talk to anybody, or else you could be, that's just speculation, or else something could happen to you. I don't know, but they need to this girl, everybody failed this girl, it seems like, in life, and we can't fail her in death, and it feels like that's happening 7 months later. No.
This is crazy. Everybody failed her. That's not right, man. I hope they get that guy, bro. I hope they do something to him, man. For real, this shit is fucking crazy. You let this man do all type of shit out here, man. Bruh.
Charges. I mean,
the wall of Tepigs. Oh my god, I'm gonna double down. Oh!
And we don't even know if there's a grand jury anymore impaneled for this, do we?
No, I mean, criminal grand juries in law.
So the grand jury might be over with, okay, but it is interesting looking at why the family aren't talking out. And the last thing that I want to share with you is this. Apparently people have found David's car located outside of a body shop in LA, and it still has the Christmas tree air freshener attached to it. Okay, I wish I could have bought this car, I'm not going to lie to you. People saying comparison is a match. It is the car. Just seeing the car is still out there is so incredibly eerie and uncomfortable. This case is sickening. Okay, so it's got an 0125 Texas tag date. So do you guys remember what they did to Koberger's car? So they kept the car as forensic evidence, and there wasn't a body found in that car either yet. Celeste's body was in the car, and now it sits on the side of the road in LA. This case stinks. I actually want to find the location. I might go pull up on that car. People saying, did he hit Celeste with his car? I didn't realize the damage was that extent.
Shit is sitting on the side of the road. Anybody can just drive past and look at the shit.
The neighbors asked him and Celeste about the dent. Remember? I don't think Celeste was hit. People saying he's a bad driver. He might have been driving under the influence. People saying unreal. Christmas tree air freshener still up. That's so crazy, man. It's beaten up at the back. What on earth happened? It's so weird that it's bashed in at the back. Must have been something huge. Or somebody smashed up his car. It's crazy. Saying, why would anyone want this car even for free? I never considered the fact that someone could have been killed or found dead in a car, and that car can be resold until now. It is crazy. Okay, so look, that's all I could find. That's all the latest updates. Okay, Steve Fisher's given his thoughts. He is probably the arbiter of information about this case. And we're still hearing nothing from the LAPD. Now I'm holding out hope. If the murder took place between the 20th and the 27th of April, I feel like maybe, just maybe, they might pull an arrest in that same period of time. So let's give it 10 days, 11 days. Let's wait and see, and let's find out. But I thought Valentine's Day came and went. Can't believe it. We might get to the point where it's been a year since the body was found and he's still not arrested. That would actually be sickening. But anyway, if I hear more information, I'll be sure to update you guys. That's it for now. I'll catch you guys in the next video, and thank you for...
This case is so diabolic. I swear, man. You can't make this shit up, man, for real. Bruh. Like, you got this motherfucker just going to different schools, still messing with minors and shit. I seen him on the last video doing that. Hey. All right, Chad.